Okay, let's unpack this. Imagine finding a hidden secret, like right at the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean, a secret with a very long half-life. We're talking about an article titled "France Finds Over 3,000 Barrels of Nuclear Waste on Ocean Floor."
Yeah.
And this deep dive, well, it's all about pulling back the curtain on this discovery. We'll look at the surprising history, the modern efforts to understand it, and what it might mean for marine life. And for us, our goal here is to give you a concise but thorough understanding of this pretty concerning find. Now, what's truly startling when you first dig into this stuff is the history. For decades, dumping radioactive waste in the ocean. It wasn't just tolerated, it was common practice. Totally legal.
Yeah, it's pretty mind-boggling from today's perspective.
Right, from just after World War II, right up until 1993, countries like the UK, Netherlands, Belgium, Switzerland, they legally dumped over 200,000 barrels
200,000.
into the Atlantic. Just legally sanctioned. Think about that.
It really is incredible. And what that practice highlights is just how dramatically environmental standards have shifted. I mean, this kind of dumping, it's unthinkable now, right? But it clearly reflects an era where regulations were, well, incredibly lax. The rules, the laws banning it, they didn't even come into force until 1993. That's long after thousands and thousands of these barrels had already sunk to the seabed and were honestly mostly forgotten.
Wow.
It's a really stark example of how decisions made way back when can have these profoundly long-lasting impacts we're only now really grappling with.
Okay, so that's the shocking history. Fast forward to today. What's happening now? Well, France has actually taken the lead here, trying to find these forgotten barrels. They launched this mission called NOTUM. That's Nuclear Ocean Dump Site Survey Monitoring.
Right.
And they used sonar mapping over this huge area, 300 square kilometers of ocean.
That's a massive area.
It is. And they found them. Specifically, 3,350 barrels scattered across about 163 square kilometers of the seabed. And to get a closer look, they sent down a deep diving robot, one that could capture detailed 3D images way down there.
And the sonar data, this is interesting, it showed these rows of black dots.
Yeah.
It wasn't just random scatter. The barrels were actually lined up pretty neatly in what they called stripes, probably following the ship's path as they dropped them.
That's the bit that really got me. Even back then, when environmental rules were so loose, there was this method.
A certain industrial precision.
They were methodically lining these things up as they chucked them overboard.
It's odd.
Okay, so they found them. They're lined up. But the big question obviously is, are they leaking?
That's the crucial point.
And the French researchers, they looked closely at about 50 barrels. Well, yes, they found evidence of leaks in some. The stuff leaking out is probably bitumen, or bumen they call it, which is apparently a common material used to bind nuclear waste.
Yes, it's like an encapsulating agent.
Right. And even the barrels that aren't leaking now, they're rusting.
Which is inevitable, really, in that environment.
So the article says even those intact ones may soon begin to leak.
And this is where it gets a bit nuanced, because while they see the rust, see the bitumen leaking, it's really important to stress that so far they haven't detected increased radioactivity levels.
Okay, that's key.
Not in the water, not in the sediment, not in the sea life they sampled right there. Now, they have taken more samples back to the lab for closer analysis.
Right.
But as of the report, no big red flags on immediate radioactivity. The rusting, though, that's a clear sign the containers are failing. The potential for future leaks is absolutely real. That's the worry.
So not necessarily a ticking time bomb, maybe more like a slow unraveling.
That's a good way to put it.
Which makes you ask, okay, what kind of radioactive waste are we actually dealing with here? Is this Chernobyl level stuff waiting to spill?
Thankfully, no, not quite. The slightly better news is that most of these barrels contain waste from labs, from industrial uses. It's not the high-level waste you get from nuclear power plants.
Okay.
So it's generally described as mildly radioactive, and it has a shorter half-life.
Shorter meaning?
Well, shorter in nuclear terms. We're talking hundreds of years for its radioactivity to decay significantly, not tens of thousands like some of the really nasty stuff.
Hundreds of years is still a long time. So, okay, it sounds less immediately terrifying, but what's the concern then? Why does mildly radioactive still matter down there?
Well, the distinction is important because high-level waste is just vastly more dangerous, needs way more containment. But even this lower-level waste, while less intense, it can bioaccumulate.
Ah, right. Build up in things.
Exactly. It builds up in marine organisms over time. It moves up the food chain.
From plankton to fish to sus, potentially.
Potentially, yes. So while it might not cause some immediate acute disaster, it poses this different, more sort of insidious risk. It's a diffuse, long-term problem. Harder to track, harder to fix once it's dispersed in the ecosystem.
That definitely makes it feel, yeah, more unsettling in a different way. So the obvious question then, why not just go get them, clean it up,
Yeah, the logical next thought.
bring the barrels back up?
Well, the article lays out some pretty big hurdles. Technically, yes, it's probably possible to recover them, but first it would be extremely expensive. We're talking billions.
Okay, money is always an issue.
Then it's politically sensitive. Bringing these up shines a huge spotlight on a problem most governments probably wish would just stay buried quietly.
It raises awkward questions.
Definitely. And maybe the biggest practical problem, it's complex. Disturbing them, lifting them, that could actually create more risk than leaving them be.
How so?
Imagine a barrel breaking apart during recovery, closer to the surface, or spreading contamination more widely during the process. It's a delicate, risky operation.
So the likely path forward is just watch them. Monitor, but don't touch.
That seems to be the implication. The article suggests monitoring but not retrieval unless something drastically changes.
It really highlights that difficult balancing act, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Trying to fix a past mistake versus maybe causing a new immediate problem.
Precisely. It's a tough call.
So, stepping back, what does this whole story, what does it really mean for us, for the future? Beyond just the barrels themselves, this discovery kind of forces us to look at the legacy of mid-20th century environmental negligence.
It really puts it into focus.
And it makes you think about the trustworthiness of nuclear policy oversight back then. How well were these things really managed? Who was watching?
Those are valid questions.
And then, of course, the big one, the long-term potential impact on marine ecosystems, on human health, especially if more stuff leaks and gets into that food chain.
Exactly. And look, while it's probably not an immediate global crisis about to erupt tomorrow, this whole situation really serves as a chilling reminder. A reminder of how decisions made decades ago by previous generations can echo down the years and, frankly, haunt future ones.
Yeah.
It just underscores humanity's long-term environmental footprint, doesn't it? And the responsibility that comes with the technologies we develop.
It's a heavy thought. It really is. The author of the article we've been dissecting even brings in this slightly dark, humorous angle near the end, kind of comparing it to theoretical physics, saying no one really knows what's going on down there, using that irony to point out how opaque it all is.
A bit bleak, but maybe accurate.
Yeah. And they finish with this truly memorable, if pretty unsettling joke. Who wouldn't like their tuna to glow in the dark?
Oof. Yeah.
It's provocative, right?
Yeah.
But it perfectly captures that sense of unseen long-term consequences from things we did in the past.
Yeah.
Really makes you stop and think about what kind of legacy, what kind of planet we're actually leaving behind.